Dave here, how are you? Recently I upgraded my dust extraction system to a 6-inch system. Now 6-inch, 150 millimeters, depends on where you live as to how comfortable you're going to be with that. I will mostly relate to the system as 6-inch as I'm going through, and I'll describe other sizes in Imperial as well. It's just a lot quicker to say 6-inch rather than 150 millimeters. Okay, here we go, let's get into it. I'm going to give you a quick look around to start. We're starting off with the impeller, and you'll notice that I put a different kind of an adapter or a flange. The inlet into the impeller I've taken from 5-inch up to 6-inch. The cyclone that I used to have on a 44-gallon drum has been removed, and I've put the inline separator in instead. It's got a 6-inch inlet and a 6-inch outlet to the impeller. I find that it just is going to work easier. The drum is smaller. I don't have so much bulk to remove when I'm getting rid of the dust. It's just a whole lot easier. So we go through a 6-inch, 6-inch, 6-inch 45-degree junction. One side goes down through a special socket that I'll tell you about soon, down to my remaining 5-inch system that services the table saw, router table and my drop saw. And then it also tracks up into the rest of my new 6-inch system. So we go through a 90-degree male to female sweep. This is actually 88 degrees. This is a DWV fitting, which DWV stands for drainage, waste and vent. This is used for sewer. Other forms like this that I've got written on it, stormwater, is a thinner wall. They still all work with each other. This will work with the stormwater pipe and the stormwater fittings. It does. I didn't think it did, but there you go. We live and learn. Tracking up to another 90-degree or another 88-degree sweep. Let's call them a sweep. It's not a hard bend. I find these are actually better than 245s to get around the corner. Across, and as we're coming across the back of the workshop there, I've got another 6-inch, 6-inch, 6-inch 45 junction to feed down through the main here and also across over to the jointer and thickness planer. At that junction I've added a small section of 6-inch pipe before I get to the large 6-inch automatic blast gate. Now that blast gate is one that's self-cleaning. There's no plastic parts to it. It's very substantial plywood with a non-porous facing on it, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but for the moment that's a blast gate. We track along around another sweep and then over and then down, and as we're going down we're going to a reducer from 6-inch down to 4-inch. Now the reason I've used this is because on my uptake of dust from machines, as it's making it go up vertical, I want the velocity to be increased. So the smaller the diameter, it picks up the speed, but you don't want to go too small because then you're going to get static pressure reduction, which will slow everything up. So once it gets up into the main, the 6-inch main around the top, it hasn't got any uplift anymore. It's just going along horizontal and it's going great. All right, so we slide down there, down through a bit of 4-inch DWV sewer pipe and then into a flexible hose with a socket on the end that is just a push fit. It's a flange style socket. It just pushes onto the socket that's on the thickness planer. On the wall also is the controller for the blast gate, and I'll go into that in more detail soon. So, all right, now we're coming down the middle of the workshop here, down right the way through. This is a run of around about 10 meters, which is 33 feet, approximately that length. That's a fair way to carry dust, but it works fine. As we're coming down the workshop, we have another junction, which is a 6-inch, 6-inch and a 4-inch on the Y coming off. Now that is there, and I have a cap on the end of it. That junction is there for Ron. That's for later on. It's so much easier to put a junction in line as you're doing the whole setup, rather than have to take the whole thing apart, put the junction in and slide it back. I am thinking about utilizing that for the router table further down the track. Coming along a bit further, we've got another 6, 6 and 4-inch Y coming off, which is to my blade guard over the table saw. It also feeds to the router table's fence. When I set that up, I have a router table fence that's on a saddle that goes over my table saw's rip fence. Bit complicated, but it works. All right, now that junction has a 4-inch to 2.5-inch reducer. Now you'll notice that all of them, I have my reducers this way up, not this way, so that the dust, as it's tracking along, is falling down. It's always on a downhill run. Once it's done its main vertical, everything else is downhill, even if it's ever so slight. From there it goes to a 2.5-inch pipe and across, and it goes to a blast gate that is 2.5-inch to 2-inch, and that fits perfectly on my 36mm Festool dust extraction hose rubber fittings. And I will give you all the codes for all of these as well. Makes it easy. That works with the blade guard. When tracking along further, we come up to the end and I have a 6-inch, 6-inch, 4-inch, but on the end of that 6-inch junction, I have a cap as well. So if I have a blockage, I can undo that cap, turn the dust extraction on and get full velocity of the 6-inch volume right the way through. On the end of it, it comes to another blast gate, another automatic blast gate, and a flexible 4-inch hose, which also has a power cable connected to the hose, and I can plug any of these machines in. This is all 10 amp up this end of the workshop, so that hose will connect to any of these machines that I have, to the drum sander, to the disc and belt sander, and even over to the bandsaw. The bandsaw is a 2-horse machine. So the difference in volume of air is remarkable. That's the setup explained, and now we're going to go through the different parts and what they're called. Don't be tempted to rush out to the local big box store to buy this size pipe. It's going to be expensive if you do it that way. I went to a local plumbing supplies cooperative. I gave them the list of what I was after and they supplied it all. Big saving. Okay. My flexible hose I got from work, from Carvertech, so that's where I bought that. The rest of the stuff all came from the Plumbing Supplies Cooperative. I'm not endorsing them, I'm just telling you where I got it from. That slides into there perfectly, a 6-inch hose clamp around there, and now my hose can hook up to absolutely anything else on my 6-inch system. This is called a coupling repair slab DWV 150mm EW socket. Okay, that's what it's called. I'll hold it up closer and you can have a quick look. Now this DWV, as I may have said earlier, DWV stands for Drainage Waste Vent. That's what these are designed for. This allows me to hook on to any pipe or male part of the fitting. This is the female, goes straight over. Done. Then gets you down to the hose diameter. Very, very handy. All right, now seeing we have the pipe here, this is 6-inch stormwater pipe. It's a slightly thinner wall than DWV pipe, but the external diameter is the same. So I was under the impression that I could not use this with any DWV fittings. Being stormwater, I thought it's going to be too big. The outside is 160mm, and that's what the outside diameter of DWV 6-inch pipe is as well. So this is stormwater, this is a DWV fitting, and let's see if I can do it on the smaller camera, on the close-up. Goes in perfectly. Okay, pull it apart. And what I've been doing as well is I've been taping and also putting a Euro screw through to lock it together. I have not used glue all the way through this system. I don't want to put glue in there. I might want to pull it apart later and move things. All right, so we have, this one here is my 90-degree or 88-degree sweep, male to female fitting. This one here is a female to female. See, it's got the flange both sides, which will take the pipe inside on both of them. This goes into there perfectly. How good is that? All right, now this one is called a 150mm by 88-degree BMF 15088. So there you go, that's what it is. I'll put them behind me once I've spoken about them. All right, they're out of the way. This one, as I said, is a stormwater 150 millimeter by 45 degrees UPVC. So ultraviolet, I think UPVC stands for. I've checked a couple of the websites of the manufacturers, and they all say that their pipes can be outside and they're kind of guaranteed for 2 years. The stormwater pipe, because it's used for downpipes on a lot of buildings, is ultraviolet protected. The DWV pipe, I doubt whether it's ultraviolet protected. All right, the reducer, the 6-inch to 4-inch, this is a male side. On this end, the 6-inch is male. On this side, the 4-inch is female. So going onto a piece of DWV 4-inch pipe. And on this end, of course, it won't go on because it's male-male. So hence, I have these adapters. It's a coupling socket. So again, DWV, and it will go like so. The one end of the pipe has got a female end on it, the other one is male, and you may have cut that female section off to utilize to join onto another piece of pipe, and you've got this other piece of 6-inch pipe, and you go, well, how the hell am I going to join it? You get one of these. There you go. So it slides in. And another thing you can do if you want to is you can cut this and slide it over the 6-inch pipe along to wherever you want and use it as a guide for a handsaw to cut it. That'll work. I got this one from autoblastgates.com.au, and these are very, very handy. You can get them with a grill or not, whatever you want. When I was looking at the setup, I went round and I had pieces of paper like this. I'd write out all of the fittings that I needed, and I got some blue tape and stuck them to the wall around the workshop. So when I'd finished that particular area, nutting out what I wanted, I would then stick it up on the wall and progress on to the next section. It made it so much easier. At the end, I just went round and I counted all the different components that I needed. Then I created my shopping list. Whilst we're talking about autoblastgates.com.au, let's have a look at their gate. Now this is absolutely lovely. It has a linear actuator here and also has a switch here. So as the actuator opens or closes the gate, it comes in contact with the switch to send a message to the controller box on my dust extractor. Now these are things that are on their website. Have a look at that, knock yourselves out. But these are very, very well made. At the moment, this is how it would be positioned open whilst the machine is running. When you turn the machine off, this linear actuator will push this direction, and the middle section, this is 3 sections, the middle section will come back out this way. This is the control box that you will now plug your power machine into if you want to use their blast gate. So this, obviously, this one is a 10 amp due to the configuration of the earth pin for Australia. The 15 amp is longer, and it will also be labeled 15 amp. This has a 240 volt to 12 volt transformer in here that plugs in to the bottom there. Depending on how far your blast gate is away from the machine that you're using or that you want the blast gate to partner up with, you may need to get a little bit more figure 8 wire to go between this one and this one. This one will plug into the bottom of the controller box here, and then off it goes, and then you'll use a couple of connectors here. All right? And that's the blast gate looked after. If you want the dust extractor to be activated at the same time, on the back of here is a socket waiting for some more figure 8 cable. You supply that, and you run that over to the control box that is beside the dust extractor. It turns the dust extractor on a couple of seconds after you turn your machine on. It gives your machine time to start up ampage. Then the dust extractor will start, on she goes, and then when you turn your machine off, the dust extractor controller can be set from, say, 10 seconds through to 30 seconds, or you can set it up into minutes, so from 1 minute all the way through to 60 minutes. Now that would be handy if you don't want to start your dusty up and down, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, if you just want to leave it running. So I can set those times up if I want to. Now, as far as the difference from the 4-inch system to the 6-inch system, I used my anemometer, measures velocity of air, basically, and volume. All right, so I parked it against here over the opening of the same fitting. This is the fitting that I have on the end of my flexible hoses. It just screws on. What I did was I placed it's a hard word, isn't it? I placed the anemometer on the edge like so. Just here is my reference point, and I did that every time. Held it basically level. I didn't hold it right over the middle. I held it off to the side. It was going to be the same surface area in all instances. And I'll take you through the different volumes of air that it registered. One of the things I'd like to make comment on is that this is not for a pressurized system, basically meaning that if I was to force fluid or air through these pipes, they're not designed to handle it. But honestly, the amount of pressure that we're going to have from a dust extraction system in a standard home workshop is not going to be a lot. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section down the bottom, and I'm more than happy to help out if I can. Thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the video. There's lots of people who have been curious about what I do with this 6-inch system, and maybe it will help them out.